everyone, I'm Taylor Hudak with Activism Munich, and welcome back to another update on the Julian Assange case. Declassified UK, a British news organization, hosted an online event titled Julian Assange, Is This a Fair Trial?, which included co-founder Matt Kennard, reporter Phil Miller, and filmmaker Susie Gilbert. The online event featured work published by Declassified UK, which exposed conflicts of interest in the Assange case. Meanwhile, the British corporate media has remained silent.
When I've been to the Assange hearings in London, I've been struck by the amount of international media that are there. Journalists from Scandinavian countries, from Norway. Obviously, the Australian media follows this case very closely. But when it comes to the British media, there does seem to be this reluctance to cover the case properly. And whilst the hearings get reported, they're kind of given minimal prominence, and also the kind of conflicts of interest behind the case aren't picked up on.
And one of those conflicts of interest surrounds the UK minister Sajid Javid, who served as the UK Home Secretary between April 2018 and July 2019. Javid approved the Trump administration's extradition request in June of 2019. Journalists Mark Curtis and Matt Kennard revealed that Javid had a close relationship to a powerful American organization.
We did a story about the Home Secretary who signed the extradition warrant with the US, Sajid Javid, who had been at 5 different secretive meetings set up by the American Enterprise Institute. And he was dining and speaking with people who had written articles which were recommending that Assange be whacked and WikiLeaks be shut down physically. So, and again, that story got no mainstream pickup. If it had, it might have been a scandal, because at the time, the shadow Home Secretary, Diane Abbott, was against the extradition of Assange. So the fact that Sajid Javid was in post and has this history is obviously opposite to the case, but again, didn't reach any kind of mainstream, I didn't get any mainstream pickup. So I think what we really need to do is make journalists aware that your future is on the line if you don't get involved now and don't really reveal the irregularities that this case involves, because really this case should be an open and shut case. He should never, ever be extradited to the US on these charges for all sorts of reasons, which are outlined by mainstream organizations like Amnesty and Human Rights Watch.
AEI is closely affiliated with the U.S. intelligence community and has a history of running a campaign against WikiLeaks and Assange through the U.S. media. The AEI's website includes a series of articles pertaining to Assange and WikiLeaks, which are all negative. Attendees and speakers at the AEI events include high-ranking military and intelligence officials. Declassified UK reported that in 2018, Javid spoke at the AEI meeting, as did Bill Kristol, who previously called for Assange to be harassed and neutralized, as well as Elliot Abrams, who was influential in the Iraq War. The same year, Javid spoke alongside then National Security Advisor under President Trump, H.R. McMaster. However, this was not an isolated incident. Javid has attended several AEI annual conferences between 2011 and 2018 and is one of the most frequent British guests. In fact, he spoke at the 2015 event with Paul Wolfowitz, who has been exposed by WikiLeaks and served as the U.S. Deputy Secretary of Defense under George W. Bush. At the 2016 event, he spoke alongside U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham, who in 2010 called for Assange to be indicted for just receiving leaks. It is worth noting that Javid has also received more than £30,000 in gifts from the AEI. But the clear conflicts of interest in this case are not limited to Javid, who signed the extradition request. Declassified UK investigated the Chief Magistrate on the case, Lady Arbuthnot, who obtained the position of Chief Magistrate in 2016 after then Justice Secretary Liz Truss recommended her to the Queen. Lady Arbuthnot presided over Assange's case from late 2017 to mid-2019. She has since stepped aside but is still overseeing junior judges in the district and has delivered 2 controversial rulings in the case, which cannot be overturned unless she formally recuses herself. In 2 years prior to Lady Arbuthnot's appointment to Chief Magistrate, she attended an off-the-record meeting in Spain with Liz Truss. The travel expenses were covered by the organization Tertulias, which is chaired by Lady Arbuthnot's husband.
We found that her husband was a conservative defense minister. He financially benefited from corporations that had been exposed by WikiLeaks. We then did an investigation of her son, who is a cybersecurity expert and financier and the vice president of a private equity group.
Lady Arbuthnot's husband, Lord Arbuthnot of Edrom, is a paid chair of the advisory board of the military corporation Thales Group and formerly an advisor to Babcock International, whose board includes the former head of the GCHQ, Sir David Omand. Thales and Babcock both have close ties to the UK's Ministry of Defence and have been exposed in WikiLeaks publications. The Arbuthnots have also received gifts and benefited from Bechtel Management Company, Tatledil and Tertulias, with Bechtel and Tatledil both being the subject of WikiLeaks revelations. Declassified has discovered that two very secretive organizations that the Arbuthnots are linked to, Tatledil and Tertulias, both have ties to the UK Foreign Office, which has been consistently anti-Assange and has denied UN rulings in his favor and even refused to acknowledge his political asylum in Ecuador. But the Arbuthnot's ties to the powerful does not stop there. Lord Arbuthnot has connections to former officials in the UK intelligence community that have been exposed by WikiLeaks and have even targeted WikiLeaks according to Snowden revelations. Until 2019, Lord Arbuthnot was closely associated with the private security firm SC Strategy, where he worked alongside the former director of MI6, Sir John Scarlett. Lord Arbuthnot's former partner at SC Strategy, Lord Carlisle, has been an avid defender of the intelligence agencies and was even the independent reviewer of terrorism legislation between 2001 and 2011. Lord Arbuthnot himself has even appeared in WikiLeaks documents, specifically 2 U.S. diplomatic cables. As for Lady Arbuthnot's son, Alexander Arbuthnot, Declassified reported that he is the vice president and cybersecurity advisor of an anti-data leak company. The company was created by the GCHQ and MI6 and has close ties to the NSA and CIA, organizations which spied on Assange, his affiliates, and are behind his prosecution. Lady Arbuthnot has not formally recused herself from the case and continues to provide guidance and advice to district judges, including Vanessa Baratzer, who is currently hearing Assange's case. The next administrative hearing is on Monday, June 1st at Westminster Magistrates Court. I will cover the hearing and provide you all with everything that you need to know, so do make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'm Taylor Hudak with Activism Munich. Thank you all for tuning in, and I will see you all next time.